Welcome to the 52 Coffees podcast. I am Cindee Williams, your host, and I am so glad you are here for this special episode. Every week, I am interviewing extraordinary women who are living exceptional lives, who are advancing daily and achieving their dreams. But before we get started, I want you to know that 52 Coffees podcast is hosted and sponsored by Lead My Life, which is a dynamic community and coaching platform for women who are ready to unlock the life of their dreams. If that sounds like you, then please check out leadmylife.com and I will see you there. Okay, so today is a special episode because we are combining clutter with mental health, and there is a huge connection. And I have on one of my favorite people today, my guest, who is the owner of HomeSavvy Organizing. Sorry, you are a organizer. She is a writer extraordinaire. I love her writing. She has the best sense of humor, and she needs to get her book published already, and editor. So welcome with me, Carrie Vomsteeg with HomeSavvy Organizing. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, thank you.
You are so welcome. To get started, I love your story of how you got into organizing and all that. So why don't you tell us, how do you become an organizer? How is this even a thing? What happened with you?
Uh, it's in my DNA. I think it's not something that I'm like, I think I'll go to school to try to learn how to be organized and care about, you know, left to right, top to bottom, color coded, all that. It was just part of me. So even if you look back at photos of my bedroom in middle school, everything had to be just so. And if I came home from school and something was crooked, I noticed it immediately. So I've always known that was in me. And then I started organizing and helping friends and family like for years, which was super fun. And then I had a friend who she was doing the same thing, and we have like this similar brain. And I was like, at some point, why don't we just do a business out of this? We could make money doing it instead of just, for friends and family. And we laughed about it. And then, a year later, laughed about it again. And then during 2020, I'm like, this is a terrible time to start a business, but want to start? So
Why
yeah,
not?
yeah, that's how it got started. We just decided it would be fun to do something like this together. And she since has faded out a little bit. So she still helps me with design projects, but I'm doing most of the decluttering and organizing and working with real estate agents for staging walkthroughs on my own.
Right. And that's one thing I forgot I wasn't going to talk about, but that's how we kind of started working together on the organizing front. Is you would come into my listings and it was an awesome service to offer. And
Yeah.
because I thought I was doing pretty good on staging them, and then you come in with your clipboard and I mean detailed, move this here, move that there, and my clients loved you. And
Oh,
and what
thank you.
was nice is, I mean, you printed out that whole sheet for them, and they just felt like, okay, I know what to do now. I know how to get my house ready for the market. So
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming when someone says, declutter it. Well, what does that mean? I don't really know. Am I
right.
just washing the dishes and putting things away? Do I have to take stuff off the walls? Do I have to take everything off my refrigerator or just some things? So to come in with a detailed list really helps. And then the real estate agent can blame it on us instead of you need to move this. Yeah, it's great for all parties.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part because I could still be the good guy. And
Exactly.
it takes that pressure off of you because or off of me because I had that personal relationship, and it was like, Carrie said to
Right.
do
Yeah.
this.
Sorry.
So Carrie said,
Yes.
and yeah, I could throw it off on you.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this mental health month in May, and I have studied this a little bit, and I think it's really fascinating because I see it in my own life. But what do you think is the relationship that we have with our clutter and our mental health? What do you see like when you're working with your clients, and just this connection between the two?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think it plagues everybody, but I don't know that we're talking about it enough. And I don't know that we have enough answers. And I don't even know that we need as many answers as we need action. So
Yes.
fear, guilt, and shame are usually the
Mhm.
things that keep us. Those are kind of the buzzwords in the
Yeah.
decluttering organizing world. if you really get into the why behind the why, like the thing beneath the thing, it's not just I'm overwhelmed because my garage is full. Why is it full?
Right.
Holding on to my grandma's things. Why are you holding on to your grandma's things? Well,
Mhm.
because I feel bad because she gave them to me. But why do you feel the need to keep up? Maybe if you just keep going deeper like an onion,
Mhm.
it feels like you can hopefully find the reason behind and a lot of it goes back to your childhood, the reason why you're keeping the things you're keeping. It's not just I'm lazy, I can't get them to a thrift store, I don't know where to donate them. There's usually a psychological part beneath it, and that's hard to admit even
Mm.
for those of us who do this for a living, because I
Right.
still have clutter. I still have things in
Mhm.
my own house that I need to go through. Not every drawer and cupboard is perfect like everybody thinks. It's like the plumber with a broken toilet at his own house, right? He's out doing
Yeah.
everyone else's house.
Do
So
you have a junk drawer?
I do not have a junk drawer. Well, I have a supply drawer, you know what I mean? But it has
Oh, I
dividers
see.
and
We've
everything.
termed it differently.
Yes, exactly. It has like random things in it, but it's not things that don't go there. Like I wouldn't have dental floss in there. Like that stays in the bathroom, you know? So it's organized, but it's still random. Yeah. But I think fear, guilt, and shame, almost every single excuse, reason, justification, anything that can fall into those three words, into that category of okay, I'm finally realizing the reason I won't get rid of that is because I'm afraid I'm going to need it someday. The reason I'm not getting rid of this is because I feel bad because my grandma gave it to me and she's not here anymore. So it's the only thing that helps me remember her. I feel bad because I'm going to feel shamed or guilty if my mom comes over and sees that I don't have that thing up on the shelf that she gave me 25 years ago and it's always been there.
Oh my gosh. You
Like,
just hit like on every single thing that I feel.
because
All
I
of
feel
them.
it too. Yeah.
Yeah, all
I'm
of
not
those,
over this just because I do it for a living. It's like sometimes people who do these things are the ones who need it the most. So,
Yeah,
yes, I'm organized, but yes, I still have a lot of work to do. And I
yeah,
think that's where I can come down and say, sure, I'm a professional, but I'm also a real person. And
right.
sometimes my closet looks like a bomb went off too. And sometimes my drawers are not the way I want them, but it's an awareness and a constant like, okay, this is driving me crazy. Why? Don't just say
Mhm,
it's driving me crazy and walk out and say there's nothing I can do. Woe is me. I'm a victim.
mhm.
If it's important enough to you, you'll deal with it. And that's the rub is that, people aren't going to lose weight until it means something to them. I'm not going to go to therapy just because I'm being shamed into doing it. I'm not going to start lifting weights because I'm getting older just because my doctor says so. It's a realization that I want to be stronger. I want to
Right.
last longer, etc.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I, my aunt passed away almost a year ago. And just the act of going through all of her things in the things that she kept, you know, from 1980 binders of her bank statements, and she was organized.
Yeah.
There was 2000 binders of organization.
Yowza.
But that, you have to go through month after month after month, but it's realizing, okay, that's what my aunts look like. What do I have in my house? Do I want my kids to have to do this with me? And that's when it got really personal for me. It's like that was my why. It's like I do not want to burden, when I pass away, it could be
Yes.
tomorrow. I don't know, but I don't want to burden my loved ones going through my junk.
Correct. And some of the things would be embarrassing for me to
Yeah,
they would
yeah,
find, and I'd be like, I should have dealt with that. I
yeah.
don't want to open up boxes and go, are you kidding me? Why did mom save this? And I have
Yeah.
boxes like that. My husband made a joke last week about my first paycheck. I got $2.75. And I was like, I saved my first paycheck stub. And he goes, I bet you did. And I was like, ooh, I mean, it's only a
I
little
did too.
paper. And my kids are going to want to look at it someday, right? What I should do is scan it and shred it. Like,
Yeah.
I get
Scan and shred.
yes, but I do have a lot of little like memorabilia type things. When it gets to the point where you realize you have too much of that and you let a few years go by, you open that box again, and you realize, why did I save this? Moving
Right.
really makes you do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than paying to have your stuff moved and you open it when you get there and realize I don't want or need this. That's a waste of money. So yeah,
Right.
always trying to declutter, always trying to open those boxes that I haven't looked at in years. And life is busy. So if you're waiting till you're going to have time to do that, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. You have to like literally put it on the calendar.
Yeah, what would you recommend like is a good cleansing routine to just kind of get in the habit of regularly decluttering your house? I need that.
Right. Yeah, I do too. And I'm not always good about this, but in my brain, I am like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Ooh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that." So some people look at it seasonally. I have to connect it to something. So, we think of spring, we think of cleaning, right? Spring cleaning, like fall decor or winter, hunkering down, lots of blankets, all the things. But if you go by season like that, then you can break it up into, okay, spring, I'm going to do the garage. So when I switch out my winter clothes for my spring, summer, so I have fall, winter, spring, summer, and it's only one bin, but it's like the super like tank tops and shorts are definitely not being worn in December. So those go in a bin into the garage. And when I bring them back in, that's when I declutter. So before I bring all the spring and summers that I'm doing now in, I look at all the winter stuff that's going into the bin and go, did I wear this past winter? Do I really love it enough to wear it the following? And then same with the stuff that's coming back in. Oh, I remember these shorts or this tank. I didn't even like it last summer. Why am I putting it back in my closet? That's the perfect time to do it.
I
If you
like that.
don't switch out clothes like that into another room or into the garage, then I would recommend doing it at least once a year. And there are different ways to do this with your clothing. And this is usually the most frustrating location for people in their home is usually their pantry and their primary closet and offices. But before 2020, offices weren't as common in the home. So closets and pantries. And for closets, one of the ways that's been popular in the years to find out, do I really like this? And to argue with yourself if you should keep it or not, turn all your hangers backwards, right? You've heard this, make everything come in the opposite way. And then go about your year. And well, you should do it in 6 months, really. You'll be able to see everything that gets worn, you put it back in the right way. Everything that's still facing you the wrong way after 6 months or a year, you realize you didn't wear it. And that's an easy fix to get rid of it. If you're still hanging on to it, you can do it for a full year. The other way that we like that's quicker and faster and rip the Band-Aid off is you take every single thing out of your closet, put it on the bed, and I divide it into 3 categories. Brand new, love it, love it, love it. You can't rip it out of my hands. I will not get rid of this. It goes back in the closet. The stuff that I'm like, yeah, no, that's not good. That's easy to get rid of, right? That goes right to the thrift store. All the stuff in the middle is the hardest part.
Yes.
I kind of like this. I paid a lot for it. It still fits. I feel bad. Someone gave it to me. All those things. Get a friend who's kind but blunt and says, that's cute, but maybe not on your body type. Or that looks good on you, but it looks like 1997. You need those opinions if you're willing to receive the opinions.
Right.
And then that's a very easy fix to be able to say, you're right. I don't really want this or need this.
Yeah, I really like that. I like the awkward hanger trick.
Yes.
That's
it's a visual every day. I don't want to wear that. And then after a year, you're like, wow, I haven't worn that in a year. That means I went through all 4 seasons and I ignored it.
Right. I'm in the process of what we're going to call thinning my closet. So I think I'm gonna implement that one. Now, I have had you over to teach me how to organize a bookshelf that was a problem area for us, and had to have Todd let go of some of his things. And it was hard to have you over because you're an organizer and I'm a perfectionist, and they don't always but I have closets that aren't perfect. How do you get people to trust you to come into their home and do this? Because it's a big step. I'm like, do I really want to let Carrie into my closet so she knows that I'm really not perfect? How do I do that? So what's your trick? What do you do?
Yeah, well, you're good at this on the flip side of convincing people of things, but they still have to want to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So like you're trying to convince me to write that book. I want to write that book, but until I put it on my calendar and say no to other things, it's probably not going to happen. They need to decide, each client needs to decide for themselves if they're ready because I can't force myself into a space and say, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
If they're not ready, it's just going to be a battle the whole entire time. So
Mm.
most people, when they finally call and they finally email, or they finally reach out and say, okay, I'm ready for you to see my closet. That's a big step. Like, I'm proud of them for being brave enough to even think I need help. That's hard to say. Like when I'm going to therapy, right? To even get to the couch or the chair has taken a lot of steps to decide I need help. I'm reaching out. I'm calling people. I made the appointment and then I showed up. Like, that's
Yeah.
brave to get there.
Yeah.
So it needs to be their choice. I'm never going to force anybody.
Right.
But that to, for us to say, oh, don't worry, we've seen worse, that doesn't always help people, because
Yeah.
they assume that their house is the worst that we've ever seen. I can guarantee you it's not. And I've watched hoarders, so don't worry.
Yeah.
But
You're well versed.
yeah. But yeah, it is a very intimate thing, especially if I'm going in your closet, because then we're dealing with your clothing and your underclothing and your things,
Right.
you know, you don't want to admit that you have 400 pairs of socks and you only wear 8 of them. So, but again, it gets to the point where you're like, I'm drowning and I need help, and you can't be good at everything. I can't fix my own toilet. I don't want to paint my own ceiling. I don't know how to do electrical. At some point, you just have to admit there are people out there who are good at this. Their brains work this way, and it's a good use of my money to restore the peace in my home. So you can learn it. Like, I'm going to do courses in the near future, and you can learn it by watching videos, but having someone in your home and touching your things and helping you and encouraging you in person has a different feel. So yeah, it's
Yeah, you touched on something about 30 seconds ago. You said that you have to recognize, like, okay, I need help with this, but that feeling of drowning, and you're just it's that overwhelm. It's that clutter in mental health when you get to this point where I don't know what to do. I've got so much stuff in my office. I've got mounds of paper, and it's keeping me from even wanting to go in there and do my work
yes.
because I don't have a home for everything. And it's just feeling like you are drowning and you just want to get on top of it, and you don't know how. And I think when you kind of reach that point, that's when we call you and
Yes.
you come in
Well, and just the fact that you even acknowledge that, you know why you're not wanting to get work done now. Instead of, I find myself scrubbing the grout when I really should be on a deadline for somebody of something that I'm editing. And I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, I don't want to start because I'm afraid that I'm not going to do this part well, or I'm afraid that I don't really understand the assignment, or I'm afraid, and we divert. And
yes,
understanding the thing beneath the thing again. So you're not going into your office to work because you're overwhelmed when you walk in there. So people say, I want to organize my whole house, but I don't know where to start. And my question back is always, which room in your home drives you the most crazy when you walk in? And 9 times out of 10, it's their closet and their pantry.
yeah,
And so that's where we start, because we don't need to deal with the formal living room that you never go in. Like, let's
right.
deal with what you're touching every single day. And for everybody, that's their closet. You're in there every day. Hopefully, you're
Yeah.
changing clothes every day. And so that's where we start, because there's nothing worse than walking in and just going, ugh, and then you feel your blood pressure go up, and it's frustrating. And now I'm late and I don't know how to make a decision. And there's
Yeah.
stuff everywhere and I can't see anything anymore. And I'm looking at, 85 shirts saying I have nothing to wear. Like, that doesn't even make sense. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's a
Yeah,
process.
yeah, I love that. How do you help people part ways with our precious, precious stuff? How do you do that? How do you work your magic?
Precious as in grandma's china.
Grandma's china and just the things that we hold on to. Yeah, and you named it, the thing that your mom gave to you, the china that your grandma brought over from Europe
Yep.
200 years ago, that kind of stuff that's
Exactly.
occupying a box in your garage. How do you help people with that?
So we know a couple questions to ask that does help them. The questions help them make the decision on their own. I'm not here
Mm,
to convince you or to
mhm.
force you. I want you to think of it in a different way, so you realize, oh, I really don't need that. So one question I ask that I got from a book that I'll shout out to my friend Kathy Lipp. She wrote a book called Clutter Free. And she speaks all over the country and she has lots of books. But this one about clutter really hit me because she always asks 3 questions about things in your home. Do you love it? So most of us can be like, yeah, I mean, it's okay. Do you use it? I mean, like a candle, do you dust it or do you actually burn it?
Yeah.
And if it got destroyed or stolen, ruined in some way, would you replace it? And that third
Mm,
question hits me every time I have to make a decision
mhm,
because I could say, yes, I love this. It's super cute, it's functional, and I use it. But if this broke tomorrow, would I go out looking for another one?
mm,
Probably not, because I already have 10 others in the cupboard.
yeah.
So that's a perfect example of I could get rid of this if I were moving. And I've moved internationally twice. Wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend it. It's a
Yeah.
beast. But I had to do that with literally every item. Do
Yeah.
I love this? Am I using it? Am I going to use it in the new place? And would I replace it if it got destroyed or stolen?
Yeah.
So think fire, flood, whatever. And that last question usually gets people to go, oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't go out and buy this again.
Yeah.
Now,
I
it's a
think
little
there's
harder
only,
when it's grandma's china because
yeah.
most people say that's irreplaceable. But yeah,
You know,
that's
keep
a
a
hard
piece
one.
of it or something. All right. Yeah.
So
When,
yeah, I decluttered and helped people move a couple months ago up in Bear Creek, and that's one thing. She had, I think, an 85-piece set of bone china, and
oh,
she had
wow.
gotten it from all places around the world, but it all matched. And she said, nobody's going to want this. And I said, yeah, and you're not really probably going to be able to sell it very well either, even on like eBay or anywhere. And so, what about this? With all of your nieces and your granddaughters, what if you gave them each a teacup and a saucer? And that would
Mhm,
be a special memory for them to remember you. And you're
mhm.
dividing it up a little. And then you could just sell the plates and bowls together, or you could just give away the whatever. And she whittled that down and literally wrapped up a teacup and a saucer for every niece and granddaughter and daughter-in-law. And they all loved it because they didn't
Right.
have to inherit 85 pieces, but it was
Right.
a sweet little memory and it's usable.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
drink tea and remember your grandma. So that was a good solution. But again, the client has to want to part with the items for this to
Right.
work.
Right. No, that is a really good solution. I know when the kids left the home and we remodeled, and I opened up the kitchen, we tore our cabinets out, completely remodeled the house. And I had to do that, go through the kitchen, and we collect so many gadgets, so many little appliances and can openers, and I mean, just the whole thing. And I did that. I was like, everything. Okay, taught. Most of it was taught or to the
Yeah,
thrift store.
donate.
And
Yeah,
just whittled it down to exactly what do I need on a daily basis. And I haven't replaced anything. In fact, when people give me things, bye-bye.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
shame and the guilt right there. But it's like,
yeah,
please don't give me anything for my kitchen because I finally have it where it's not bombarded with stuff. It's
yeah,
exactly what I need to get the job done for my husband and I. So
yeah.
that's really great advice. I talk about something when I speak about the word just. And,
Hmm.
we can use the word just in a lot of ways that aren't helpful to us. It means nothing more than, that's what just means. But there's this one phrase that we say a lot of, and I call it the just in case curse. And we can use it relationally, like I'm holding on to his phone number just in case he calls me, just in case he decides he needs me, right? And that's detrimental if it's a toxic relationship. But we do that with our clothes, we do that with things in our kitchen. What if I just in case I need that?
Yep.
How do you help clients move through that?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Another tough one. All of this is tough. Let's
No,
just
I'm
acknowledge
sorry.
that. This
I
is a
want to
hard,
know. I need to know.
no, it's just a hard subject. It's
Mhm.
hard physically, it's hard mentally, it's hard emotionally. Everything about it touches a nerve somewhere for somebody.
Yeah.
So that's a hard one. One thing I just did a reel about this on Instagram, something about you're never going to get the money back that you spent on it. And acknowledging that is hard for someone who's frugal, especially. That was hard for me because I'm like, oh, I paid full price for this, or I only had it for 9 months, but I'm realizing I don't like it. It doesn't work well. It doesn't function. Like, I'm addicted to avocados. Okay. So I got one of those avocado things.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this in my drawer for at least a year to see when I use it. Do I love what it does for my avocado? Does it hold it better than a Ziploc bag? Am I saving the earth by not using more bags? Is it not having it go brown? Really, it's just not fitting in my drawer, and it's driving me crazy. And now every time I use it, I have to wash it. It's this whole, like, you go round and round in circles. Just in case reminds me of my grandma who lived through the Depression.
Mm.
We found a bag of twist ties, like a whole sandwich size quart Ziploc bag of twist ties. How many do you possibly need? Because that's back when they only bought bread that had twist ties, right? Not the plastic clips. And, it's easy as grandkids in junior high to pull it out and make fun of her. But I can see the why behind that, because I do the same thing with a really good box. This is such a good box.
Oh, that's so
Why would I
funny.
recycle this box? It's so sturdy. I'm going to need this for something, as if another one isn't coming in 8 days. Like, we order things like you're going to get another box. But yeah, it's hard. It just in case is hard. However, if enough time goes by, you can answer your own question. Your just in case has been sitting in the garage for 2 decades.
Right.
You could have sold it, donated it, bought it again if it was only $4. That there's probably should be a dollar limit, a threshold in your own mind of what is not worth it anymore. Because if the just in case never comes, and that thing that you're saving is only worth $4, that's so not worth taking up valuable real estate in your garage.
Yeah.
If it's a $5,000 item, like some crazy dining room table from Italy, I'm holding on to this just in case we have Thanksgiving here again someday,
Right.
that's a whole different conversation. But the little things, that's like, I might need these paper bags. My husband just did that to me, a few weeks ago. He's like, why are we keeping all these bags? I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like they're really good when I go to the thrift store, but I don't need 30 of them. So you're right. So I got rid of half and I put donations in the others. And now I have like 5 left. And it feels way better, and it's not messy by my fridge.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. That just in case, I think just being aware of the phrase, just
Yes.
being aware that you're saying it about an item helps.
Yeah. You can also put a date on it. That helps
That's a good
people.
idea.
The day that I'm saying I might need this someday, I'm going to mark May 2024. And when I come back and find it in a year or two and I haven't used it, I just proved to myself that I probably don't need it. Because when do you think you're going to need it? In 10 years? Like be honest about the time frame. I might need this for my son. You mean the one who just moved out? Like, what do you need it for? So you have to have that conversation instead of just ending it with, I might need this someday. Talk about what the someday is and what would you need it for? How much would it cost to go buy it again if you really did need it, which 9 out of 10 times we don't.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like what you were talking about, the onion. I love that, because this applies to everything that you've said today. Is we just kind of have to keep unpacking it little layer by layer. So when we are aware of ourselves saying, I'm just holding that just in case type scenario, we just have to keep unpacking that. Why, and get to the bottom of it. And then if we get to the bottom of it and it's legitimate and we want to hold on to it, then so be it.
Yeah. One way to get over some of this is to live in a trailer. We had to move into a 5th wheel when we were moving out of the country. And wow, you can only take so much, right? It's kind of like going glamping. If you're going camping in a motorhome, how much are you taking with you? Even for a week, 2 weeks? What if you're going to live in it for a month? But how much are you really taking with you? You're probably taking like 6 or 8 outfits, right? And you're going to switch out other things. And you're maybe taking 1 candle and like, that's it. And after a few months, I couldn't even remember what was in storage, much less missing it. It just is shocking how much we don't need that we think we do. So downsizing, you're good at that with the real estate stuff that you've done for empty nesters, is a big revelation for a lot of people who we help when they're decluttering and downsizing. They look at this whole house of things that they've spent a lifetime collecting and now it's going to the Salvation Army. And it's
Yeah.
usually kind of sad.
So true. I
Yeah.
think once they have been able, I know with my clients, when you've worked with them and they are able to just like declutter and maybe take out some extra pieces of furniture and they realize how much space they have and
Yes.
how great the house looks. And it's like, do we even want to sell?
I know.
Or why are we moving? It's just such a great freeing experience, just to have
Agree.
all that clutter be gone.
Yeah.
So amazing. I love what you do. You're amazing at it. I want to know right now, what is next on the docket for Carrie Vomsteeg?
Oh.
What's coming up?
Well, lunch, is that what you mean?
Yeah, don't know. It's not that easy.
Shoot. So I'm an editor as a
Yeah.
regular job. So I'm working for an organization in Orange County, a Christian organization called Purpose Driven Ministries. So that's my kind of day job, but it's only part-time. So I do like editing. I edit people's books. And so that kind of keeps me busy, but I'm writing my own book. So hopefully that will get going with a kick in the pants from you someday soon. And then for organizing, I am doing a lot more on Instagram now with reels and just showing what we do and giving some like inspirational, hey, you can do this, do it now, type of quotes and hooks and things like that. But also, I want to do courses.
I was gonna make you say it.
I'm saying it out loud.
You have to say it out loud.
I know. So I don't really want to be lifting 40-pound bins over my head into people's garages when it's 110 degrees very much longer because it's really hard work. And I hire people to help me and they can be the muscle and I can be the brains, whatever, but it's still hard. Physically organizing people's spaces is physical. And so I don't want to be doing that when I'm older. So courses, I think, is the way to go. So I'm going to record myself teaching and do small bits and then cluster them. So like you could buy just how to do the drawer in your kitchen, just how to do your pantry, just how to do your fridge. And then I'll bundle those and call it the kitchen one. And so that's the
Fantastic.
idea. I'm just going to move through my house and through other people's homes and record and try to get everything on my new website to be able to sell those and help people who aren't local. That's what's great. I
Right.
mean, yeah, you can
Right.
fly me to Texas if you want to and put me up in a hotel and I'll come organize your house.
Yeah.
But most people don't want to do that. And so
No.
I can help people in Michigan, in New York, in Florida, in Australia. Let's go international. And just through watching a video, and you can watch it over and over and over.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It's fantastic, and you're a wonderful teacher, and you've got that humor and all of that. So it's such a beautiful thing that we have available to us now with Zoom and the internet and all these things. We can learn anything is at our fingertips, and so
that's true.
I encourage you. You've now spoken it out into the world. And what we speak out loud, what we write down eventually gets accomplished because now people know. So I'm glad that you said that, and I'm excited to take one of your courses someday.
Oh, the pressure.
Okay,
Well,
so
you were a great example of this. So thank you. You are one of the only people who are like, you're going to do this, right? Yes. Okay. When are you like right now? Write it down. Give me a date. I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah. It's
But
like
no,
marriage, ring and a date. Don't just
yeah,
ask me, give me a ring and a date.
that's a good point. Yes. Oh my God.
Okay, so I usually ask this, and this puts you on the spot, and I know you don't like being on the spot.
Okay.
Anything that you're reading right now that you're loving that's really helped you?
Ooh, you mean with organizing or with my
Or
life?
just
Oh,
life?
I'm reading Kristen Hanna right now. Do you know
Hmm,
her? She
no.
wrote The Nightingale.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes.
And her brand
Okay.
new book just came out called The Women.
Oh,
So that's my next read. She is prolific. She's so good. Anyway, just kind of pulls you in. I don't take a lot of time to read because I feel like I have so many things going on in my life right now, but Sundays are my day off. No chores, no work, no guilt. That's
yeah,
my
good.
mantra
I
for
love it.
Sundays. So that's the only day of the week where I sit on the couch for however long I want and I don't feel bad about it. So
Good.
it's, taking a day of rest. Um, So that's when I do the majority of my reading. At night, I just fall asleep. In the morning, I'm already thinking of all the things I got to be doing. So
Yeah.
my other favorite author is Anne Lamott,
Yes.
Lamott. I know you know her. So I've read quite a few of her things. Bird by Bird, fascinating, especially if you're a writer. And then Traveling Mercies is my next one of hers. And then Thanks, Help, Wow, no. Wow, help, thanks, something like that. Three Little
Something like
Prayers.
that. Yeah, 3
Yeah.
words. Yeah,
Yeah, but
awesome.
she's written over 20 books and she's
Wow.
fantastic. So those two are probably my favorite. The Glass Castle. I don't know if you read that. I read
We
that.
just unlocked, like I asked you and you went, oh no, and then you're just like reeling them off. See?
Well, I've become a better reader. I did not grow up as a reader. Ask my mom. I was terrible. I would much rather be climbing a tree or playing softball. But I became a better reader because as a writer, you need to be a reader. And
Yes.
so I kind of forced myself, and I always had the excuse that I didn't like reading because I couldn't find anything I liked. And the point was I wasn't finding the stuff that I really liked. So when I found it, it just unlocked. Get on Goodreads if your viewers are on Goodreads for great inspirational ideas of what to read next. And you can go by category, you can find people who are reading, but yeah, so reading.
That's a really good tip. I like that. Carrie, where can we find you? If we want to hire you, see your fantastic reels that you're putting out, all of that, where can we find you?
Well, I'm not going to give you my address, but my
okay. Hunt you down and drag
I'm at
you out to
586 no. On Instagram and on Facebook, we are HomeSavvy Organizing. And we have a website that's hmsavvy.com.
Okay.
And that's being redone right now. And so it can host my courses in the near future, but you can still find it. It's still up. And yeah, so you can look on our website for pictures, inspiration, but my Instagram and Facebook is where I'm trying to post as much as possible right now.
Yeah, I love your reels. I think my favorite one was the guy falling off the gurney. Rolling into your it was funny and
into my living room. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
got a
you throw
lot of
your
reaction.
classic humor into everything that you do, and I just love that.
Thank you. That was fun. It took a lot of takes. I give all the credit to my son who just kept there going, do it again. Okay, roll fast. Now do it again. I was like, oh, my hips hurt.
I know, and it just when you do it right, it looks effortless. So it looks really good. Well,
yeah, no, that was take 8. So
yeah. Thank you, Carrie, so much for coming on today, for just helping us to uncover our clutter and hopefully help us give some organizing tips. And if we're local, we can hire you. If not, in the near future, we can take one of your courses.
yes, ma'am. Thank you. It was my pleasure. You are the biggest inspiration. So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. And for you watching, stay tuned for next week. We have more good things, and make sure that you subscribe so you can get more of 52 Coffees. Take care and have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. Bye.